Donald Trump once said that when tariffs are high, companies are more likely to move their factories to the U.S. to avoid paying extra fees. That was his reply when he was asked about how his tariffs were impacting not just American businesses but also regular people. But the actual outcome turned out to be much worse than expected, especially for Tyson Foods. Trump's unusual reaction to the entire issue caused even more confusion. So, what exactly did Trump say? Let's explain everything. Tyson Foods, one of the biggest meat producers in the U.S., recently shut down several of its processing plants in America. Overnight, hundreds of workers were left jobless. Families lost their main source of income. Whole towns were badly hit as their biggest employer vanished without notice. What shocked many was Trump's strange response. Instead of offering concern for the affected workers, Trump used the moment to brag. He said his tariffs were forcing companies like Tyson to bring jobs back to the U.S., even though Tyson was doing the opposite. They were shutting down plants in America. Trump repeated his idea that higher tariffs make companies more likely to build factories in the U.S. But how does that make any sense if a company is closing factories here? It's not just puzzling, it's completely misleading. We'll walk you through what really happened, what Tyson said about the closures, and how Trump's defense doesn't match reality. In fact, it clashes with basic economics. What's even more disturbing is a leaked internal memo from Tyson that tells a very different story from what the company publicly claimed. We also hear from workers who were let go, like a woman who broke down in tears after getting her termination letter. In the end, this story isn't just about Tyson, it's a warning sign for the larger U.S. economy, and Trump's response could be a signal of how political leaders twist facts to suit their message. Tyson Foods isn't just any business, it's a massive force in the meat industry, responsible for nearly 20% of the country's beef, pork, and chicken. They employ over 120,000 people, many in small towns where Tyson is often the only major employer. So when Tyson announced the closure of poultry plants in states like Arkansas and Virginia, the news hit hard. In October 2023, Tyson said they would shut down plants in North Little Rock, Arkansas, and Corydon, Indiana. They claimed it was to optimize operations due to changes in the market. But local leaders and former workers weren't convinced. A Corydon official said there were no warning signs one day Tyson was talking about expanding, and the next, they were shutting down. In North Little Rock, over 300 people lost their jobs. Most were immigrants or low-income workers who depended fully on that paycheck. When asked if Tyson would help them with new jobs or training, the company's reply was vague and unhelpful. Tyson blamed fallen demand and higher costs, but that didn't explain the whole situation. Just months earlier, Tyson had increased production. Reports showed chicken supplies were higher than in years. Their financial records even showed strong overseas sales, especially in Asia and Latin America. That suggests the closures weren't about U.S. demand at all. One former worker said the real reason was that Tyson wanted to shift operations to places with cheaper labor. While Tyson was closing plants in the U.S., it was expanding in countries like Thailand, China, and Brazil where labor is cheaper and regulations are weaker. Think about that. Tyson claimed it was struggling financially but was investing in new plants abroad. That's not about efficiency, it's about profit. And this is where Trump's comments come into question. At the same time Tyson was cutting American jobs, Trump, now leading in the Republican primaries, was on TV claiming his tariff policies were making companies return to the U.S. He said foreign products being taxed would push companies to build in America. But Tyson is already an American company, and they're moving jobs out. They're not avoiding tariffs, they're chasing lower costs. Ironically, Trump's tariffs may have made it more expensive to operate in the U.S. Steel, fuel, and equipment prices went up, all key to running meat plants. So instead of encouraging companies to stay, the tariffs might have driven them away. That's a cruel twist for the workers Trump claims to protect. Even when pressed, Trump didn't change his position. In one interview, he bragged about placing a 50% tariff on the European Union, saying they called him immediately to talk. But that comment ignored what was happening at home, real people losing their jobs. At best, it's dodging the issue. At worst, it's using people's struggles for political gain. Tyson's story is not unique. Across America, companies are cutting jobs and calling it efficiency. And leaders like Trump are spinning these job losses into fake wins. This isn't just about one company. It's part of a bigger trend where profits come first and people are left behind. And it's the workers, not the top bosses, who suffer. Now here's the twist. That leaked Tyson memo we mentioned Ed tells the truth. A manager shared it weeks after the plant closures were announced. Dated August 1st, 2023, the memo said the shutdowns were part of a long-term margin optimization via labor cost exit. In simple words, Tyson wanted to move jobs to countries with lower wages. The memo outlined a plan to shift up to 20% of chicken production abroad within 3 years. Brazil, Thailand, and Malaysia were top on the list. So, while Tyson was saying they had no choice, they were really following a long-term plan to offshore jobs. And it gets worse. Tyson continues to receive millions in government support through farm-related programs. That means U.S. taxpayers are indirectly paying for their own jobs to be outsourced. Meanwhile, Tyson's top leaders are doing fine. CEO Dottie King earned over $12 million in 2022. Executive bonuses kept growing in 2023 even while workers were being laid off. This is the kind of corporate doublespeak that angers so many people. Tyson promotes itself as an American brand while quietly sending jobs overseas. Trump's claim that companies will return to the U.S. to avoid tariffs is not only misleading, it's completely false in this case. Tyson isn't coming back. They're leaving. Either Trump doesn't understand what's really going on, or he just doesn't care. And it's even more painful when you hear from those hurt the most. In North Little Rock, over 300 workers lost their jobs, many of whom had no other work options. One woman, speaking anonymously, said she had come to the U.S. for work and now didn't know what to do. Another man.
This audio was created with Podcastle.ai.
Work and now didn't know what to do. Another man, a single dad named Marlon, worked the night shift and was seen in a viral video holding his termination letter. He said, "They didn't even say thank you. Not even a handshake. That's what job loss looks like on the ground." And Trump's response? He went back to bragging about making foreign countries chicken out. No mention of the families impacted. No solutions for the affected towns. Just more chest thumping. The truth is that tariffs are a blunt instrument. They don't solve deeper problems. In many cases, they actually raise costs and hurt the very companies and workers they're supposed to help. In 2022, Tyson's former CFO admitted that tariffs made U.S. operations less profitable, so they looked overseas. That means Trump's policies didn't keep Tyson in America, they helped push it out. And Tyson isn't alone. Studies showed that Trump's tariffs cost the U.S. about 75,000 factory jobs between 2018 and 2020. Prices for everyday items also went up. So when Trump says his trade moves are helping the country, he's either ignoring the facts or choosing to lie. The problem is, this message still sells. Supporters want to believe he's standing up for workers, fighting corporations, and bringing back jobs. But the facts show otherwise. He's not solving the issue, he's just blaming others, like immigrants in foreign countries, instead of holding big companies accountable. The most troubling part is that this tactic works. People get caught up in the emotion and stop looking at the truth. Meanwhile, politicians and large companies keep benefiting. After closing its plants, Tyson released a new ad pushing its Made in America image. It showed smiling workers and American flags, but not the one 700 jobs just cut, or the massive profits just earned. Just feel-good music and flag waving. And while towns fall apart, Washington stays silent. Tyson spends big on lobbying over $1.1 million in 2022 fighting labor and environmental laws. They target government agencies like the USDA and lawmakers on agriculture committees. They're not just buying influence, they're buying silence. And it works. Despite offshoring jobs, Tyson still gets U.S. tax money through government aid programs. Between 2018 and 2020, Tyson received over $64 million from programs signed into law by Trump. So, let's sum this up. American jobs are being cut. New factories are built overseas. Companies collect taxpayer money. Leaders like Trump spin it into a political win. And the workers? They're left behind. One former USDA employee said they knew what Tyson was doing but couldn't act because it wasn't illegal. But for people in Indiana, Arkansas, and Virginia, this isn't just paperwork, it's their lives. And that's the real story behind the headlines.